person at home might have to be forced to go to work if you make sure that even without daycare, she has to do it. And who knows who's going to take care of the kids. Yeah, those are anecdotes. That is not research. Please do some research. And if you do, you will find that getting rid of the income tax is a stupid idea. Plus, it's totally unfair.
Well, I do a lot of research in this job.
You do more research than she does.
No. Well, I go to the primary source. Where did these ideas come from? And I always find some political group or sociologist. The left is big on their gender identification things, and it turns out to be some sociologist. It's not who is telling us these things. It's not medical fact. It's not based in science. It's based in sociology, which of course is not a science, so to speak. I'm not a big fan of sociologists. I was gonna be one once. So
well, you do like economists better, right?
Oh, absolutely. Ag economists who live in Iowa. Absolutely. Named David. Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, good.
All right. Is Peter Fisher still with?
He is. He's just not available today because, he's a farmer also. He has a lot of fruit trees and sells pears at one of these community-supported agriculture things.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he belongs to a bunch of farm groups and stuff like that. And
Peter Fisher does?
Peter Fisher, no.
Peter looks like an old retired academic to me.
He does. Well,
I don't know how many. I don't know if he'd fit in real well with a bunch of old guys having coffee at the co-op in the morning.
If he had one of those free seat caps, he might fit in.
He might get him some suspenders, and he's probably got several pair of those anyway. So there we go.
Yeah, I think actually, Peter's a lot different from me for sure, because one of the things is that he doesn't shout, he doesn't kind of wave his arms. He's just a pretty calm guy.
See, that's why I'd never make it as a talk radio host. You gotta or a politician, either one. You got to, jump up and down, wave your arms, scream your head off.
That's why I like talking to you. It's true, Mike.
It is the truth. When I really go to Fox News in the morning or go to Scarborough and MSNBC in the morning, and they're screaming and hollering, they're angry, they're ticked off, they're selling rage, and then they accuse each other of selling rage. I like that. We really have to think through these things a little bit, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's hard for some of you, but don't start screaming in the streets just because you heard something on one of these opinion networks, or even on opinion radio or newspapers, which have finally caught on to the fact that there's no such thing as objectivity in their business. They're going to have to take a point of view, and they're going to have to own it and not deny it, because that's where we finally are, a more honest approach to media, or the information we receive from media. There's a lot of opinion mixed in with the news, and there has been for a long time.
Yeah, but in general, you have to look at newspapers. I think newspapers just are a lot more straight than anything else.
I'm starting to refer to Todd Dorman, who used to work here in town, as Comrade Dorman.
Oh no!
And he's wearing. I suspect he's wearing a Mao suit around town. He's really sounded like a pinko here lately.
Well, look, sure, but I don't think Todd would say much different from what I just said about Kim Reynolds' great idea to get rid of the income tax. When the other side does stupid stuff, I think you have to say something about it.
Well, and Kim's making a political statement. She's not going to get that done for the reasons that you've articulated during this interview. We'd have to get rid of public education. We'd have to cut back on police and fire and everything else. And if she's foolish enough to suggest that, she'll be out of office.
Well, yeah, I would assume that. But again, if the experiment's already been done, why don't you look at that and see how well it worked, rather than just say, I heard from somebody that this would be a great idea. And then she says, oh, all these states are doing this. Well, all these kind of Republican-led states may be cutting taxes, but that's not generally what's going on. New Mexico just kicked up their highest tax bracket by another point because they needed some money, and people seem to want to be in New Mexico. I'd kind of like to be there, except for the water, which doesn't exist any place down there.
Yeah. Yeah, we were talking water yesterday. Who was I talking with water quality yesterday? You know, many years ago when I was in college, I had a general science teacher, and I loved his class, and I got a great. I think I got an A in the class. Not that makes any difference, but he was talking about sooner or later, California and the West Coast are going to lose, and they're going to lose because they're going to run out of water.
Yeah.
We in the Midwest have water, and we were talking about where California gets its water, which is snowfall in the Colorado Mountains when it melts in the spring. That's a big deal for the water reserves on the West Coast. But,
right.
Sooner or later, that's not going to be enough for them. And,
especially LA. That's where LA gets.
Yeah, LA is kind of target center even back then. He was saying, yeah, Los Angeles can talk all it wants to, but it's about rural versus urban. One of these days, and who knows when it is, that Los Angeles area will remarkably be uninhabitable.
Well, this is something, maybe this is the last point today, but before I got into the legislature, when I was teaching at Cornell College, mm-hmm. I got this grant to look at the Missouri River, where a group had something called the Etsy Pipeline. And they wanted to pull water out of someplace around Sioux City and send it down to Kansas because those poor devils needed more water. And it was, nobody around here thought that was a good idea. And it would have been, billions of dollars. And finally, the railroad stopped it because they wouldn't let the pipeline go across the rail lines. But there were all these crazy ideas. When I looked into the study, I found the Corps of Engineers had plans to take water from British Columbia and send it to Arizona, of all places.
I heard something about that, yeah.
God. And I think what we need to be thinking about is the Great Lakes, the Mississippi, the Missouri. Those are resources that are here, and by golly, they ought to stay here.
All right. David Osterberg of Common Good Iowa has been our guest. You can find out more about Common Good Iowa by going to commongoodiowa.org. Thank you, David.
Hey, bye, Mike.
This is AM 1400 KVFD.
Get control of flies on your swine operation with a comprehensive game plan built around Clarifly larvicide and